So I get this question a lot. Which ML5 should I pick from the Headhunt? Well, I can't choose for you, but I'll try my best to give you a short and sweet rundown of every unit available, and hopefully that'll help you decide. I'll mostly be talking about units from a PvP perspective, and if I don't mention any use in PvE, it's safe to assume a unit doesn't have any, so let's get started. For must-have tier, if you're using any of these units, you better pick them. Lilius is an insane unit. Vigor buff is broken, she's really good for PvP and has a handful of PvE uses like Hollow Trials and Ancient Inheritance. Cleric is one of the best supports in the game. He has CR boost, full cleanse, immunity, attack buff, shield, attack down, full strip. It doesn't need F-res like other cleansers. He does everything except heal, and he's also really good for PvE like Lilius. Spectre Tenebria, perma stealth, super carry. There's not much to say. Not being able to get targeted is super strong. Also really good in PvE with poison and crazy damage. So for a really good tier we have Zeo, and Zeo is absolutely a must-have if you want to cleave or be aggressive. Being guaranteed first turn and disabling a unit is extremely powerful for all playstyles in PvP. Ambitious Tywin, insanely strong debuffer, cleanser, and Aureus holder. His defense breaks and stuns are so game changing that it's even worth building effectiveness even though he has conditional ignore ER. Last Rider Crow mitigates tons of AoE damage while putting out crazy damage himself, and he gives insanely valuable team immunity buff. Definitely top 3 knights in PvP along with a Tywin and Arrowwall. ML Ken, he is one of the better counters to ML Landy, which makes him super valuable. Basically, he's good against anything that can't help but trigger his counterattacks, making him especially good in Arena and Guild War. Brysteria, full strip, unbuffable, defense break with soulburn ignore ER, and holds guiding light makes her insanely strong for any playstyle. Notably, one of the best cleave units in all PvP in combination with Lionheart Zermia or Commander Pavel. Strays, strong aggressive option for killing Aureus holders, but much harder to use due to ML Landy, but he gets a bonus for his usefulness in one-shotting basically every hunt. ML Leica is basically Strays, but you get to choose your target. Insanely strong in RTA, mostly as like a last pick. She kills a unit and it's over. ML Zermia, insanely strong bruiser against anything with counterattacks and extra attacks, and that is a lot of things in the meta. Also has some use in PvE too, like for Queen and Hellraid. Commander Pavel is absolutely a must-have for cleavers. He's insanely good in all PvP for cleaving, especially when comboed with Rand, Politica, or Bryceria. He's also really good at farming side story and adventure stages too. Solitaria is one of the best control units in the game that can completely overload someone with debuffs even if they have a cleanser, and she also counters any focus-based unit, so she has a lot of longevity. If any new unit that comes out that has focus, she'll automatically counter them, which is pretty absurd. Politica, insane aggro and cleave unit, tons of utility, mainly used to beat up anyone slower than you. Combos really well with Bryceria and Commander Pavel. For the usable tier, we have Rylet. Very polarizing unit. Rylet is actually a really good DPS. He's super strong with Lilius and strong against popular units like ML Landy, ML Yuffie, and Lionheart Zermia, but I do not recommend him if you have weak mental because getting hit and dying turn 1 is not uncommon. Mikoi is a pretty good cleanser alternative to Mediator and Distina, but she definitely requires a different playstyle. Shamadras and free ER makes her really good with bruisers that heal. Pirate Captain Flan, she's a super strong debuffer, but has fallen off currently due to ML Landy and the meta favoring immunity buff. She also requires a plus 30 limited artifact. Death Dealer Ray, not much use in RTA due to ML Landy, Aiden, and the fast-paced meta, and he's also overshadowed by MO Shu as an injury unit. Used to be very strong, but mostly a for fun unit right now. Archdemon actually is a decent damage dealer into a lot of meta units because of how reliant on passives they are, but her problem is that she can be very good, but she's also she can be very bad if you low roll her RNG. MO Bologna, decent counter pick into MO Landy and all anti-crit units, but she's super high maintenance, basically requiring both a cleanser and mitigation because she has neither of that built into her kit, which makes her more suited to Arena and Guild War where there's no way for her to be a liability. DJB, DJB really falls short from popular supports like Mediator, Destina, and Meikuli unless you can make use of both his inversion and CR boost to be aggressive, but that makes him much more situational. Daily Bed, great cleanser against Cleave, but she's very one and done and is susceptible to getting beaten up by lifesteal bruisers like Aiden. ML Celine, decent anti-aggro pick when there is nothing to control her or ignore her damage cap. Like she's okay against like strays like because like, she can just revive whoever they kill. Ravi unfortunately has fallen off a lot because she's useless against Aiden, ML Landy, and Stenny, who are basically everywhere. She was insanely strong at her peak, so maybe she'll be better in the future in a different meta, but right now not so good. ML Kron is surprisingly a decent DPS. He's pretty good against non-evasion bruisers that don't have super high HP because he does have decent potential to one-shot them. Ruel, she's not bad when you need to protect the unit from super big single target damage like Inferno Quasi, but that's about it. ML Elena, super good quality of life unit for cleaving arena and guild war with Ran and Caesarea. However, you need a pretty fast Ran to make the most out of her, like 310 to L-speed and Lua and C Lilies reliably. Dark Corvus, insane guild war and arena unit for killing people slowly, sometimes usable in RTA to 1v4, but not often. Fallen Cecilia, really good mitigation against cleave, but that's all she is nowadays. It's ML Ball, great anti-cleave unit for RTA, not very good into Aiden or Landy, which a lot of cleavers are using, so there's a bit less use for him, but he's still really good. Bellion, great unit, but typically when Bellion is a good pick, she's already pre-banned, so you actually don't get much use out of her, but good for arena defense at least. ML Rana, super good for Zeo Paracleave, but she's weak to Politis, ML Yuffie, Aiden, and ML Landy, making her really hard to pick. Also insanely gear intensive because you kind of need 300 effectiveness to land her debuffs, and then you can just get 15% it too. Sage Vivian, not as good as she used to be because of ML Landy and a lot of other aggressive things in the meta, but she has some use in more aggressive play as a book holder for Bryceria, but otherwise not too good anymore. Closer Charles, he's just an aggressive late pick with CR boost and attack buff, and in his current state, he's not very good. ML Luluka is basically a worse Closer Charles. Base Beast sucks and doesn't do much damage. And the rest of the units, they aren't really worth talking about. Like they're pretty useless. And these three you can't pick. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Hopefully this helps. Bye.